So those who don't know, what I had done is Control plus Shift and plus sign. So by this you can literally, I'm sorry, you can literally make like zoom in whatever you are typing actually. And to zoom out, you can simply type Control and the minus sign. Okay, so yeah, there will be many shortcuts that I'll be telling you meanwhile, that as you know, Control plus D is to come out of Python. So here I'm in the root of Linux. Okay, so as we have home in Windows, we have root in Linux. So which I'm at the main, what I can say, core of the Linux or Ubuntu. And root contains various folders where you have your files, videos, and everything installed. So yeah, so yeah, to go in Python, I'll simply type Python 3 because I'm using the third version, where you have got Python 3.7.3 is the latest version that I'm using. Actually, the latest version is Python 3.8. So if you're having that, it's well and good. All right, so we are in Python right now, and to go out of Python, we just have to type Control plus D. So again, we are out of Python, we are in our root again. Oops. Oh, PYTHTHON3. Yeah, and to clear the screen, I mean, it's looking messy. So to clear the screen, I'll just mention Control and L. So the screen is clear, which is above actually, but it seems clear. Yeah. So today's session is control statement and program flow. So those people who have already learned uh, other programming languages like C, C++, Java, other you would have learned about control statements or conditional statements, we would call it as there. So conditional statement, as you all know, it's if else statement, if statement, and also for loop, do, while loop. All these things we had learned in other programming languages, and same thing we are going to discuss for today's session. So to go in deeper, and trust me, it's of huge use when it comes to programming in Python. So, and Python has made things pretty simple for us. So as I told you, it's a user-friendly language, and this language is literally very close to the human language, like the English we are using. So even if you will realize, using for loop, the way we used to use it in C, C++, is pretty simpler than that. So you'll get to know how it works. So what we will be doing before, typing out the coding, I'll just give you the introduction of what it is. So in our control statements or in program flow, so there are mainly 3 to 4 types. So first comes if else statement. So in if else also, it is called as if else ladder. So in if else, we have 4 types: if statement, second is if else statement, third is if elif else, and fourth is if elif. So I'll let you know and I'll discuss about it in detail furthermore. But as of now, just to give you a brief idea about what it is. Then comes we have for loop, we have while loop, we have break statement and continue statement. So we generally have 5 things when it comes to control statement and program flow. So what control statement is, it means we are controlling, giving control to particular statements. So if we are mentioning something in for loop, it means we are giving control to that particular statement, hence it's called as control statement. And program flow is, in a particular program, the flow of program is designed on the basis of that control statement. So the flow, let's say our program is 4 to 5 lines, and their 2 to 3 lines block is consist of a for if else loop. Okay, so the if else loop, we can run it as many times as we have mentioned there, 5, 10. So it increases the flow of program, increases the runtime of program. So that's how it works, and that's why it's called as control statement. And it decides the flow of the program, and hence is considered as program flow. So first thing first, what is if else? So we have already learned if else statement long way back in C, C++, many of you, and those who have not, no issues. We'll simply start out typing and running the code on it. So yeah, first thing, one more thing I'd love to tell you is how to control an integer into variable. Okay, so let's say var is nothing but var is nothing but a variable. That is, it's a string. Okay, so you all must be knowing that in Python we have string, and to convert the variable, I'm sorry, integer into variable, you just simply have to do. So I'm just telling you for just to let you know how it works or how it is. Int of var. This thing simply converts an integer into variable. Okay, it's as simple as that. So this var, it's simply converting the string into integer. So let's say if you want to convert something, what I can say, any particular string, if you want to convert it into integer, you can do it as var equals to int of var, and vice versa. Don't worry, I'll be telling you this implementation of the same thing while running out some codes. As of now, I just gave you an idea about what it is. So doing the first thing, I'll just clear the screen. Yeah. So let's say if you let's take an example for the if else statement. So what I would say is, let's say if we are considering an age. Okay, so let's say for license purpose, so we get a license after an age of 18. So there we have a database where we have to figure out wait for a sec. I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be giving you the live examples of what I can say, the applications which are based on real time. So that way it becomes easier for you to learn Python and to make it more user friendly. So first thing is, let's take an example that with the as I told you, if your age is above 18 and now you are eligible to get your driving license, let's say. So how to mention, how to use that, or how to finalize that in Python, how to write a code about it in Python, it's very simpler. So imagine a situation where you have got a database where you have got people from various age. The database consists of people who are of age, varies from literally from born to people in their 80s, and you have got a task to distinguish people who are eligible to get the driving license and people who are not eligible to get it. So what you will be doing is, so when you get driving license when you are 18, right, when you are above 18, so here you have to finalize or distinguish the people who are below 18, yeah, below 18, and 18 plus 18 above. So there you can distinguish it using if else statement. Okay, so it becomes very easier in Python. So remember, typing out the whole code in C or C++ or even Java, we have to mention hash include stdio dot h and everything, where you have to mention, I'm sorry, where you have to mention everything. You have to initialize integer, then how much input you are taking and everything. You don't have to do these things in Python. So not making you wait anymore, we'll just simply type out a code. Let's say age equals to int. So I guess I have told you, right, how to take input from the user. So we are just simply doing that. Age equals to int, as in the input we will be taking it in the form of integer. Okay, that's why I'm using int. Comes braces, input, enter your age. I hope everyone is typing out simultaneously with me. Make sure you're closing all the braces. Okay, so we have got two open braces and we are closing them. Enter. So let's say our age is 21. Okay, so our age 21 has been inputted in the system. Now what we'll do it if age is greater than equals to 18. Here what it means is, see how simple it is. We are just mentioning if age. It's as simple as the normal English we use. So that's why Python becomes so user friendly. So we have mentioned here is if age, the person's age is greater than and equals to 18, enter. This 3 dot means that we have entered in the if loop now. So we have entered in the if statement. Okay. Now comes the most important thing of Python, which differs it or which distinguishes it from the other programming languages. It's indentation. So what indentation is, if you have entered in Python, so if you have entered in any loop or any control statement, that is if or for loop, do loop, while loop, so there you will get this indentation, which means that you have entered in this loop, and the very next line to this indicates that you have entered in that loop. And to get to run a program in that loop, you'll have to put a tab. So make sure you are pressing a tab button, else your program won't run properly, else it will show you a syntax error that your program. Python has very, very simpler syntax, so it becomes easier for us to know even if I'm making any mistakes. So what we simply did was we have mentioned our age is plus 18. So if your age is equals to 18, so equals to also matters, okay? And 18 plus. So there we have put indentation. Indentation means a program is getting executed in the control statement. Okay, so make sure you are mentioning the indentation here properly. So if age is greater than 18, print eligible for license. Okay, as simple as that. So we have just mentioned that. Yeah, so yeah, you must be thinking now why it has not ended. So here the loop has not ended. Okay, so to get out of the loop, you will just have to press the enter again. Yeah, as simple as that. You have got the answer that here the age we have mentioned is 21, which is greater than 18, and hence the person is eligible for a license. You must be thinking now that we are getting our solution immediately at the next line. Okay, so we have uh, your input line, and immediately you are getting your, oops, oh, I write the wrong spelling of, yeah, no issues. uh, you're immediately getting the solution of every line simultaneously. Okay, and that's the benefit of Python. So it's not a compiled language. Okay, so that's the, I can say, privilege of Python, where you get a chance to run program and get the solution of it simultaneously. Just wait for a sec. Yeah, so okay, I'm sorry. So that's how it works in Python. And if you want to, like, further, we will be using functions and all these things in Python, where you will be using lambda functions or various loops in Python. There we will have to run the program continuously. We will have to type out the program continuously, and in the end we will need the output of program. For that scenario, just the way we do it in other programming language, C, C++. So for that case, we'll be using other tools like IntelliJ. As of now, to make it pretty simpler and to make you all friendly with Python, I'm using terminal. So once our session goes to the next level, we'll be using tools like IntelliJ, and I'll be telling you in detail how to use it properly. Okay, as of now, things are working pretty well with this. So you can go with it, or you can, for the Windows people, you can simply use Vim Python. It's as same as this. Your program will be run in this way only. Eligible for license. So yeah. Now we will also show that else here comes the else statement. So as I told you, we have four options in four if statements in Python. First is just this much. I'm sorry, just this much, which is if statement. Then comes the if else statement. Then comes if else statement. Then comes if elif statement. And I'll be discussing about it in detail with you. Else. Oh, okay. I got it. If age. So what I have done here is I have literally taken else here without mentioning if, and that's why it has shown the syntax error. This syntax is invalid for sure. So I'll simply type out again. So instead of typing out, I'll just mention the up arrow to get what I have typed out earlier. So here, this thing was already mentioned here. So which has come here. If age equals to greater than 18. No, don't forget to mention the indentation. That is tab. Don't forget to mention the tab bar. Print eligible for license. So we have come out of this if loop here. Okay, now we are using the alternative loop, which is else. And again, we are going into the else loop. So else print not eligible. As simple as that. So this here we have learned first if statement and then if else statement. Okay, so let's say we are changing our age. Here it was mentioned 21. So let's say if we are changing our age now. So let's get out of loop. So yeah, here you have got an answer that eligible for license because we have mentioned our age as 21. Now let's change the age. I'll rectify my mistake here. Why? Oh, you are. Yeah. Your age is, let's say, 16. Okay. Now we'll again run the same program. If age is greater than 18, print eligible for license. Else, print not eligible. So I hope you're getting it. What we have done here is from this, okay, from this statement, we have taken again age as input. So not to type out everything once again, I've just clicked on the up arrow. So where you'll get all the previous statements you have typed out. So, and print not eligible. So here I have come out of this else loop, but I am still in a loop. So to get out of it, not eligible. So here we have mentioned the age as 60, and that's the reason we are not eligible. I hope you get it. As simple as that. So pretty simple. Now we'll just do one thing. We will mention if like, let's say here in India, let's talk about boys now. For girls, the marriage of girl happens is eligible after 18, but for boys is 21. Okay, so for that reason I'm talking about boys. So what I can say is let's consider a scenario where you have got a database and you have to figure out now who are eligible for marriage and who are eligible for license and who are not. Okay, so just adding some twist in this same question again, and I'm making it a bit complex. I can't call it complex because it's pretty similar and you will learn it, just trust me. It's pretty simple. So we have got a scenario where you have got database and you are supposed to distinguish it on the whole thing, the whole data on the basis of the age of people. Like those people who are above 18 will be eligible for the license. Those people who are above 21 will be eligible for marriage. Okay, so the people above 21 will be eligible for marriage as well as a license. The people below 18 will not be eligible either for marriage or for license. The people between 18 to 21, now this is the part of twist, I would say. People between 18 to 21 are eligible for license, but not for marriage. People, I mean guys. Okay. So this thing we have to figure out using the if statement. That is the control statement. Don't worry, pretty easy again. So I'll do one thing. I'll again take an input. So yeah, we have got again age equal to int, which is in the form of input. We have taken input as enter your age. Let's put an age as 34. Okay. So now our age has been stored in the system as 34. Okay. So let's type out if statement, if age is greater than 18, and just the way we use and in our normal English, the same and if age is where it is less than 21. So here we are considering 18 plus till 21. So we have got what I can say, a range from 18 to 21 here, less than 21 actually. So it considers, so this statement, I'm sorry, this whole statement considers the age of a guy from 18 to 21, that is 18, 19 and 20. Okay, so people who are having this age will come in under this category. So there, let's say we will print, we are again going to the loop, so mention tab here. So we are printing, oops, print license. Okay, we have come out of the if loop now. So another loop is coming parallel to the if loop here. So here was if loop and we are typing out elif. So basically, I guess in C, C++, we had else if, okay, and in Python is just elif. So just same concept, just name has been changed. Elif is else if. I mean, if first statement is not working, then we have got next statement to work on, which is considered as elif. And if any of the statement is not working, that we have else in the end. Okay, as simple as that. So we have learned about, we have covered if statement, if else statement. Now it comes if elif else. That is the third statement. So if I'm sorry, yeah. Elif age is greater than equals to 21. Now here is 20, age is considered as 21 plus. Again, I'm going into the elif loop where we have to print license and marriage. Going on to the another loop which is parallel to if elif. So where comes the else statement? Again going into the else loop by using indentation, that is tab bar, print nothing, or you can type out neither license nor marriage. Now our input was 34, our age was 34. So this program should give us an output of license and marriage. So let's see. So here else simply means like instead of putting out if age is less than 18, then print nothing. So we have just mentioned else. So what we have done here is if the data is greater than 21 and if the data is greater than 18, whatever is left over, which considers under else. So whatever is left over comes under else statement. So you don't have to again specify that else means it's less than 18. So we should get an output as license and marriage. So let's check. Yeah, license as marriage, as simple as that. So not this case, you can, just because to save time, I'm moving on to the next part, but you can use other examples also to distinguish how it works. So as simple as that. So yeah, if else statement is as simple as that. So even you can mention, you can type out the whole same thing and keep it this much only, and still you will get an answer. You don't have to mention else, it will still work. So these are the 4 parts of if statements in Python. It is called as if ladder. So if else ladder consists of 4 types: if statement, if else statement, if else statements, and if elif statement. So I guess we have covered all. Now next thing comes is I'll clear the screen. Meanwhile, I'll check whether is anyone having any doubts before moving on to the next part. Any problem in chat box? Cause, oops, Vrinda has a doubt. Cause is not it's CLS, dear. CPS is not defined. Sorry, CLS. I'm using Python 3.8 32-bit in Windows. I'm sorry, dear. CLS is not clearing the screen. Error. Okay. I'm still not getting why CLS is not working, because like when I discuss this thing with other people who have already using Python in Windows, it worked for them. I guess you will have to use Vim Python there. That would be the preferable and most preferred thing to use Python. Just download it for the next session. If you don't want the screen to be, if you want the screen to be clear, download Vim Python. That's what I can suggest as of now, because it should have cleared. I mean, in last session, I remember we have even literally Googled, and the answer was same. You just have to use CLS, but not an issue. Okay, I'm not using command direct Python. All right, we'll just check how it works. I mean, we'll discuss about it in the Q&A session. That's the only issue people are having, I guess. I mean, the CLS thing, clear screen thing in Python, in Windows. Else, I guess it's all going good. So moving on to the further thing, that is for loop. Now we are moving on to the first ever loop of Python, that is for loop. Using directly Python in Windows. Okay. So here knows, I guess Vrinda is not using command prompt. All right, we'll discuss in Q&A session, no issues. Before that, I want a quick yes from everyone to move on to the next session. I want to check whether everyone is on the same track with me. So just put yes in your chat box immediately. 18 people have joined and got 3, 4, 5 yeses. Yes, yes. Okay. Great, great. Lovely. So, yep, I guess no one is having any issues. We would have discussed, as in we would have solved some more statements in if-else format. But thing is, we have very limited time, and that's the reason we should utilize it, learning further things. You can still practice out by taking another examples, pretty simple examples like this was about age. So you can take any further example. Instead of taking input in integer format, you can take input in var format, just the way I told you in the very first part, like in the while starting this, before starting the session, I guess I've told you how to convert an input in variable format. So you can use that just to simply use if else statement for the variable type. Okay, that's it. If you're getting any issues in it, we will discuss in the next session, in the beginning of next session. So try out that also. So yeah, lot many yeses I've got. Lovely to see that. So let's start the for loop. Cool. For loop is if you all know, we have used 3 loops in other programming languages, I would say now, instead of saying C, C++ all the time. In other programming languages, we have learned for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay, so fortunately, I'd say, yeah, it's fortunate. It's not unfortunate at all. We don't have do while loop in Python, so it's not a drawback at all. So missing out something is not drawback sometimes. It's a plus point in Python, which has made it pretty simpler for user. It has become user friendly, and few things which are not in Python. And one of that thing is we don't have do while in Python. uh, Reason I'll let you know, because if it has alternative just in while loop. So that's why Van Rossum, the founder of Python, felt why to introduce do while again. Okay, so these two loops are just enough for us to learn to execute the programming in loop format. So generally what loop is, so can anyone tell me, instead of giving a typical definition, I want you to know that how you understand about what loop is. I want to know what is loop for you. So simply type out in your chat box what do you think about what loop is. Yes, waiting for your response. What do you mean of loop? I mean, main itself indicates, but the name itself indicates, but uh, what is loop? I want to know from your side. If we need to repeat task again and again, then we can use loop. Okay, Nagesh, lovely. Iteration, exactly. That was the word I was searching from your side. Repetition of certain tasks, exactly, Gayatri. Okay, great. That's it. Pretty simple. So loop is nothing but if you have a particular, what I can say, particular tasks to repeat again and again, we use loop. If you have particular set of program, a block of program, which you want to run for a certain amount of time, a certain amount of steps, we use loop, where we mention the input size, the starting point, the ending point, as well as the steps in it. So there we use loops, either for loop or while loop. So it's again called as iterations also, as same as that. So iteration means iterating, repeating the same thing, cycling the same thing all over again, unless and until we get the last point of the thing. Okay, so yep, let's do looping in Python. What for loop is. So one more thing I forgot to tell you is switch case, about switch case. So I guess I mentioned in earlier session also, but just for the newcomers, we don't have switch cases in Python, just the way it used to be in other languages. So instead of using if switch case, we can simply type out the same program in same amount. So if you remember, in switch case, we used to mention 1 for January, print if it's 2, then print February. If it's 3, then print March, and so on and so forth. We used to mention in the same way. So instead of using the whole switch case, we can simply write that if 1, print January, if 2, print February, as simple as that. So that's the reason Van Rossum didn't feel any need to type out again a different set of code in C to get it run in Python for the switch case. So yeah, switch case is not there in Python. So you can simply note down in your notes. So if you're typing out somewhere, mention things which are not in Python. I'll keep telling you in your session. So if you want, you can note it down somewhere that switch case is not there in Python. Then go to statement is not there in Python. Do while is not in Python, which are pretty unwanted and unnecessary thing for the coder's perspective also. So yep, if else statement is done. One more thing I would love to tell you is uh, like what is the difference between function and looping. Okay, in function also we call the same what I can say, same set of blocks whenever we want or wherever we want. In loop we use the same thing. We have a set of program which we keep iterating or repeating for how many times we want. So by the end of the session, I want the explanation for this from your side if you know, else I'll let you know. So if anyone knows, not now, take some time, have some patience, and by the end of today's session, or you can give the answer in next session as well. What's the difference between looping and proper let's say any loop or control statement and function. So I want to know that from your side if you know, else I'll be answering you, not an issue. So just a sec. Yeah. Yep, for loop, right? So the plus point of for loop is it consists of three parts, which I'll be telling you how it works. I mean the syntax. But these three parts, the first part is most important, which is initialization. Then second part is final, what is the final term, and the third part is called as the steps. Okay, so there are three parts in for loop: initialization, the final statement or final term, and steps. Okay, here you can simply mention the initialized term, which is enough, and which will keep on iterating the loops no matter how much time you want. If we are running for loop for the step of 3, we'll have to mention it particularly that we are using step of 3. Like we have to, let's say we have to type out a program for type out a for loop, what I can say, in for a table of 3, as simple as that. Yeah, for table of 3 we'll just have to mention the steps as 3, and if you are not mentioning step as 3 or step as anything, it will by default consider it as 1. So step is by default considered as 1. You can note it down if you want, and it's pretty simple to remember also. So yeah, moving on to the uh, for loop. Hope you're typing out with me simultaneously. For I, what I here is I is particular variable or particular uh, any input you are taking, which is considered as I. So you must have used it in other languages also. So what I indicates is if you are taking any kind of input from user side, it's considered as I. So for I in range. So I is an element, particular element or input in a given range. So we are mentioning the range here as, let's say, 0, 10, 1. Oops. What I have done here is for I in ranges. So, oops. Here 0 indicates the initialization. It means the for loop starts at 0, 0 point. It ends at 10. So it will keep iterating till it reaches to the point of 10. And 1 is step. So the step it will take is 1 by 1. So after 0 comes 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. As simple as that. Oh, I didn't mention. For I in range of 0, 10, 1. See, Python, it's pretty simple. It's just telling you that your syntax is false, and where it's even showing you where it is false. So I didn't mention my colon, so I'm sorry, semicolon, so that's the reason it's showing me. Again, for is a loop, then hence it introduces us to the indentation part again. So tab, print, print I, that is I, I, comma, end equals to. So I guess we discussed about this thing in our previous last session, what end is. So end means that you all must be knowing the code automatically starts in the next line in Python. So if you're typing out something here, and if you're done typing, after mentioning enter, it immediately comes to the next line. Whereas in C or other languages, you have to mention /n to run the program in the next line. So which is not required in Python. It automatically jumps to the next line. So that's why I'm mentioning end here, which gives us, end to the statement, I would say, and it will jump to the next line. So This thing simply indicates, as you know, we used to write out for loop in bracket I equals to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. But Python has made it pretty simple for I in range. So even someone who doesn't know P of programming or C of coding can literally get to know what this is telling us. It's a range from 0 to 10 with the step of 1, and I is an element of this range. So we are printing I and we are ending it with a space. Okay, so just to let us know that after 1 it comes to. So I'll just tell you what happens if you are not mentioning end here. Our output will get as 1 2 3 4 continuously, so it will be looking as a string or same set of number. So to distinguish it from the other numbers, we are putting space in it, so that's why it will come as 1 space 2 space 3 and so on. Okay, so ready for the output. As I told you, you must been wondering that why it is showing 0 to 9 and not 1 to 10. So in Python, or I guess in other programming languages also, the initial term starts with 0. Okay, and we have literally mentioned 0 here. So it starts with 0 and it doesn't end at 10. Okay, if let's say n equals to 10 here, so it doesn't end at n, it ends at n minus 1. Okay, so it will take this 10 is what I can say, the numbers we have up to it. Okay, so don't consider that it will show us the output of like up to 10. 10 indicates the number of output we will be getting. So if you count here 0 to 9, the number of output here is 10, and that's how it works in Python. So let's do another thing. I hope everyone is getting this thing. I'll discuss one more thing. So yeah, as I told you, we have got our indentation here. I'm sorry, the pointer here again on this same line itself, because we have mentioned end here. So as we discussed in our previous session, how it works, it will show us the output in the, it will show us the direction to our next point, next coding in the same line itself. So you can simply put enter to code in the further line. Let's take an example as for I in range of 0, 10. Same thing I'm taking, but here I'm not mentioning 1. Okay, I'm not taking the second term, third term. So in case if you're noting this whole thing down, I would suggest you to note this thing down, that the syntax of for loop, the basic and important things to remember. So you can, you will be having this session, what I can say, again recorded, and you will get it for Plus members. It's available. You will get it on Cyberfraud Plus Drive. But just to have you the good habit of, practicing and writing, you will remember it forever, trust me. So you can just note it down, the syntax of for loop, and you can mention that this 0 is initialization, this 10 is number of outputs, and this 1 is considered, the third part is considered as step. So initialization is x, y is number of output, and z is step. As simple as that. So we have mentioned here initialization and number of output, but we have not mentioned our step here. So let's see how it works. Oops. Array. Sorry. We are again in the loop. I'm mentioning tab here. Again, the same thing. And we are coming out of the loop. See, we have got the same output, because what we did was simply, as I told you, by default, for loop takes an input by the step of 1. I mean, it runs while iterating it, while running the loop. It takes the gap between two inputs or two integers as 1, always. Okay, so keep this in mind. Now let's make a twist. Let's say if we have to take input, I'm sorry, if we have to show an output of what I can say, even numbers, let's say. So a question comes as, write down the write down a program to mention the even numbers from 0 to 10. So we will simply do it as 0 to 10 initialization and output. I'll tell you one more twist what happens here after it gets solved. Okay, so let this thing get solved. I'll let you know what occurs, what is the issue can occur here. Okay, so you'll have to think about that as well. So tab, yeah. So here the input is 0. We are getting an output. I'm sorry, we are getting it up to the term 10. Like it will run up to 10, and we are getting to it in the form of in the steps of 2, 0 2 4 6 8. So why we are not getting 10 here is, as I told you, it takes up to 10 minus 1, so it will run up to 9 only because we are starting it from 0. So 0 to 9, it comes in whole input of 10 integers itself. So yeah, uh, let's take an example to print 0 to I'm sorry, print odd numbers from first 50, like from 1 to 50. So what we'll simply do here is we'll take 1 here. So we have initialized 1. So now what will happen is it will take 1, then it will jump to 3. Okay, and that's the way we will get our odd numbers. So 1 to 50, and again 2. So odd numbers comes alternatively, one after, like, yeah, alternatively. So we have 1, then 2 goes off, then comes 3, 4 goes off, comes 5. As simple as that. We are going in the for loop, doing indentation by putting tab, and yeah, 1 3 5 7 9 blah 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 up to 49. As simple as that. Just imagine how long it would have take to type the whole thing in C. I mean, we would have surely have to, mention the what I can say, the whole format of initialize things in C, which we don't have to do in Python. See, we have not initialized I here. We have not mentioned what I is, whether it's integer or whether it's a variable. We have not mentioned it. Python has literally got it by seeing the range in the form of inputs. It has literally considered that it is an integer. So we didn't need to mention it in any way. Okay, I'll just clear the screen now. Control and L. So I guess we can also solve it in further formats. Yeah, what we can do here is now, I guess it's 8.5. We'll simply jump onto the while loop. We will be discussing about, further types of, there is no type of for loop actually. We'll just discuss about where are the various applications of for loop, and I mean how it works. So there are various examples of for loop. As I told you, we have used if state, even and odd. We have done right now for even and odd. We can do it for any kind of, like, let's say the table of 3 and 4. So in the what I can say, for okay, let's type out for range. Let's say we are typing out a table of 3 here. So it starts at 3, ends by not 30. So see what I'm doing here. I'll type anything which is more than 30. Okay, so that is 33, 31, 32 up to 33. Okay, so to get a table of 3, we can put it. If we mention 34, what will happen is it will show us from 3 3 to the 6 up to, not just up to 30, but it will also mention 34. Okay, so we can put here 31 or 32 or a 33, because uh, it will take the output until the term 33 minus 34 33 minus 1. Okay, so it will take it up to 3 to the range of this for loop would be 3 to 30, and 3 simply to get the table of 3. 3 ones are 3, 3 twos are 6 up to 30. So you've got a table of 30 here. Wow. So that's what one more example. And there are a hell lot of examples. You can, use your brain literally. And for the practicing purpose, you can practice any kind of, iterating example as such to get an output in Python. It's pretty simple. Now we will jump on to the while loop. So while loop is another simpler thing, which doesn't has range at all. And it's used when the range is unknown to us. So what I can say, if here we have got a range from 3 to 30, right? But what if we have got an input where the user has not mentioned what would be the range of particular program? So there you have to use while loop. I guess I should take, yeah. So I'll clear the screen once again. We'll jump onto the while loop now, and let's say n is an initial point. So let's say n equals to 10. It's integer we have mentioned. Initialization is pretty simple in Python. You don't have to write int, and then you don't have to guess. Whatever input you're typing out, the system will immediately capture it. If you are typing out n here, so it will simply get 10 here. So it will simply get to know that we are mentioning integer. If we simply mention n equals to Python or n equals to cyberframe, so it will simply get to know that the input we are mentioning, it's in the form of string. Okay, so that's how it works. While n is less than 10. I'm so sorry. I again forgot to mention the colon. Okay. Oh, while, yeah. No issues. N equals to 10. That's what we wrote, I guess. While n is less than 10 of n is less than 10. We are in the loop. Print n n equals to n plus 1. We are doing this in the while loop itself, okay? And we are doing these two terms simultaneously or parallelly, I would say, because we are printing while loop. I'm sorry, we are printing n, and the next parallel thing to it would be n equals to n plus 1. I mean, it will keep on incrementing it. See, we have not mentioned the initial point here. We have just mentioned that n equals to 10 and n is less than 10 here. Or we can simply write it in, in Pythonic way. So another term I'm introducing you is Pythonic way. So whatever you are typing out in Python or using Python programming language, it's simply called as Pythonic way. So keep this in mind whenever we are typing out something in Python, it's called as Pythonic way. So Pythonic run or Pythonic compiling the program, or yeah, just Pythonic way. So that's what we call it as. So for n equals to n plus 1, the Pythonic way would be n plus equals to 1, which is as same as n equals to n plus 1. N equals to 0. I'm sorry. Oh yeah. I guess there is an error. Just hold on. In while loop, we have, yeah, break and continue two statements. So yeah, got it. Not an issue. We'll do one thing. So yeah, we can run what I can say, the the break and continue statement either in while loop or either in what I can say do while I'm sorry, for loop. So let's say n equals to 0 while n is less than equals to 10, or any input you want to take on 6. Taking the indentation again. Print. Oops. Hello. So I'll tell you what's going to happen here is we have taken while of n is less than equals to 6. Okay, so we have got it in very simpler range. So the starting point of n is 0, and n will keep on iterating until it reaches to 5, which is less than 6, and it will keep on printing hello in every time. So if n is running for the first time, it will print hello. Again, for the second time, it will check the value of n has been incremented to 2. It will again print hello, and up like till it reaches to n is less than equals to 6. So it will print hello, 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 hello all 5 times. Enter. We are again in the same loop. N equals to n plus 1. See, what has happened here simply is hello 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you must be wondering why it has come for the 6th time. As I told you, it starts from 0. So this is for n equals to 0. So when n equals to 0, it has shown hello. Again, it has moved on to the same thing. It has incremented the value of 1. So the value of n is 1. Then again, it will print hello. So for the value of n equals to 1, hello. This is for n equals to 2, 3, 4, and 5. And on 6, the loop will be break. One more thing I want to tell you is, there is one thing which I would say, there might be some cases where you have run the loop and it has become an infinite loop. I mean, there is no end point for the loop, and it keeps on giving you the output, and you don't know, you get panic and you don't know where to stop it. So there comes a time where you stop it using what I would say, oops. Yeah, there comes a time where you want to stop the loop and you get panicked, you don't know where to stop it. So in that case also, I'll tell you what to use. It's pretty simple. Again, the same shortcut, but I guess for that, we should run a program, or it might crash our system. No, I'll just take and let you know. This was simpler while loop where we have got this input as n equals to 0, and the range of this was, ultimately from n equals to 0 to 5. We have printed hello for every term by incrementing it as by taking a step of 1. So this stands for the step. Okay, so what we have, the third point in third term in our for loop, step is here. Print is everywhere. It was the very different thing in for loop also. Here comes the initialization, n equals to 0 where the first term. Here comes the like up to what number it is, the length of program, I would say. So the middle part of for loop is this, and here's the last part of for loop, that is the step, and we have got it in this way. You can simply write down the same program in for loop. Again, the very simpler thing. So for loop, you can, okay, for I in range of 0, same thing I'm writing in for loop. Okay, so the moving on to the next part, what I'm teaching you right now is how to convert while loop into for loop, and vice versa. Again, the simpler thing. So let's say we have taken it as 0 to 6, and it means it will come to 5. And we can take step, or we cannot even take it. Okay, it's by default 1 only. So still for the safest side, I'll take, but I'll not take. We are coming the for loop. I'm putting tab, and I'll print hello. Now let's see whether we get the same output. Yes, 1 2 3 4 5 6, as same as the above one. So I guess that's how you would have got to know how to convert while loop from like how to convert while loop into for loop, and vice versa. You can do the same thing. If you have got an input like this, you just have to mention that the input previously, let's say n equals to 0, where we have mentioned here I. Okay, here we have taken n. You can use anything. Here we would have taken I also, like I equals to 0, while I is less than equals to 6. One and the same thing. Okay, Python doesn't make it a big deal. It makes it pretty simple for us. So next thing, what I would love to tell you is further two things. That is continue statement and break statement. We don't have your go to statement. So if you would know that we have continue, break, and go to, these three statements, additional statements in other programming languages. Go to is again not required because it can be again done in simpler way just by using either continue statement or either break statement. Okay, so there was no special need to introduce another statement as go to. So I'll show you one example in go to statement. I'll clear the screen. So why go to statement is used is if you want to, when a loop is circulating or when a loop is running, and if you want to jump from one particular, for one particular term, at one particular term, you can use go to statement. While running a loop, if you think that this loop has to break somewhere and you want the immediate further output somewhere, so to break that particular loop and to jump out of that loop, we use break statement. So I'll give you an example for this. What I can say, yeah, for this why break and continue loop or break and continue statement. Either in this can again samely it can similarly work in like for loop and while loop. So for your better understanding, I'll first type it down in for loop. I'll clear the screen. So running for, yeah, for I in range. So we're taking an element I, and you can mention element also. Okay, so you don't have to mention particularly I here. You can mention anything you want. So you can mention, so generally the syntax would be in, it's as simple as for element in range, but we can simply write it down as for I in range of 0, 5, 2. So here the incrementation is done with the step of 2. Yeah, where is tab? Yeah. Print I, enter. So I'll tell you what am I doing here. Hello. So what's gonna happen here is we are getting an output in the range of 0 to 5. Okay, it means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but here it's incrementing by the step of 2. So we will get 0, we will not get 1, we'll get 2, we'll not get 3, we'll get 4. Okay, so I stands for input here. I mean, whatever input term, that is the integer, and it will also print hello. So how this loop is gonna work, that it will give us I first, that is 0 first, then it will print hello. Then again it will go to this, the loop will go here again. It will increment it by 2. It will give us 2 here. So print I again, that is 2. Again it will give us hello. Again it will go back to the same loop. And finally, I'm sorry. And finally, yeah, no issues. Finally, it will give us 4 and hello. So just to show you how it works, 0, hello, it's showing I as 0, then hello, 2, hello, 4, hello. Another type of for loop, I would say, just to tell you that it works in both for both integers as well as strings or variables. So Okay, let's do something for an infinite loop. So control and L, I've cleared the screen. Let's say n1 equals to 10, while make sure you're typing it out simultaneously with me, because we are doing something. We're going to do something amazing now. Request to Windows user. I'm not sure how to go out of infinite loop in Windows. So I will tell you, I would just suggest you not to try this. But I guess it works the same in Windows as well. Okay. So, but still, let's type it out. 5, yeah. Indentation, print, and then so yeah. Let's see what's happening here. N1, the value of N1 is 10 here, okay? And N1 I have mentioned here, which is greater than 5, we have to print N1. So what's generally gonna happen, we will get an output as, okay, I guess I'll have to mention print N1 equals to N1 minus 1, I would say. I'm sorry, not print, N1 equals to N1 minus 1. So N1 is greater than 5, okay? So if we would have done N1 equals to N1 plus 1, we would have got an answer of what I can say, N1 is 10 and N1 is greater than 5. So it's between 6 to 10. So generally, I'll show you what happens here. We have got it in this way. Let's do another thing. So here it was pretty simpler loop, that while loop that we have mentioned here as N1 is between 6 to 10. So we have got the output in reverse format, that is first comes 10, then it will show N1, that is 10, then it will decrement it by 1, we'll get 9, 8, 7, 6 till 6, okay, because N1 is greater than 5, so it will stop when it comes to 6, it won't go after it. Now let's have a twist in it. I guess I'll have to type this out. I'm not getting it here. No issues, I'll type it better. While N1 is greater than 5, print N1. You must be thinking that this is just stop, but check, we are getting an infinite loop here, literally. So this is running hell lot of time. I mean, it's an infinite loop. So I'll just tell you what has happened, but to get out of this, so check, this is already running, okay? So this is not giving you the amount from this chain, and it has not, I'm sorry, and it has not stopped. It's a continuous loop now. It's running. So we cannot even hold this one particular term. It's just moving forward. It has become an infinite loop. And to get out of this loop, we just have to type, click on Control and C. Push, we have get out of loop. It's a keyboard interruption. So you want to check. See, this was a loop. It was not just, it's way above. I'm just scrolling up. So we entered into the infinite loop right now. We just entered and we just got out of it as well by typing out Control plus C. What happened here was N1 equals to 10, we have mentioned, and N1 we have mentioned N1 is greater than 5 and print N1. So what happened was the loop, the initialization of loop was 10, but we didn't mention it like how to decrement it, okay? And we didn't even give it the like the age of decrementation, like in previous term, as we mentioned the decrement by 1 and up to 6 only, okay, up to 5 only, but we didn't mention anything as such, so we didn't give it any end, okay? So it keeps on repeating the same thing. It keeps on looping again and again, and we didn't get any outputs as such except 10. So it becomes an infinite or iterative infinite loop, and we get out of it by just pressing Control plus C. Okay, that's how you get out of an infinite loop. Just like keep in your mind. So to break, yeah, I'll just show you how break works. So we are just on the verge of ending the session. I'll just tell you how go to statement, like there is no go to statement. I'll discuss about that also. So I guess this is the last or second last part of today's session. For I in range of 10, tab tab tab, print print, print I. Now again tab, if. So it's parallel to the printing statement. Okay, we have come in for loop, and we are not doing it in parallel of for loop. We are doing it under for loop. So that's why I've taken indentation here as well. If I is greater than 3, boom. I'm using, oops, yeah, another tab. Okay, I've used 2 tabs here. So make sure, break, enter. So this break statement is it's inside this if, is inside this if statement. Okay, so make sure you are very clear about your indentation. Now another statement is coming parallel to if, which is print anything you want to print. Let's say, hey, yeah. Okay, got bored with hello, right? So something different. So how it's gonna work? Here we have taken the range of 10. Okay, this means the initialization, if you know. Okay, we are printing I in the range of 10. I guess it has to be 1. Just hold on. I'll check the output first and then I'll explain. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm seriously sorry. I mentioned rank here instead of range. Again, typing mistake. Again, I'm typing it out again. Print I, if I is than 3, break, print here. Should I again? I'm so sorry. Where is rank? It's range. Enter. For I in range of tens, invalid syntax. Oh, I'm sorry. It was previously in the same loop. I'm sorry for the confusion. Yeah, for I in range of 10, print I. If I is less than 3, is greater than 3, break, print here. So what's generally going to happen here is the value, the range of I is till 10, and here we are printing I, okay, and the value of I is greater than 3, okay, and then we are breaking it. So let's see what happens. What happened here is, see, 0, I'm so sorry, yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, something is wrong. It should not mention 3 here. Okay, so what break statement generally finalize it, we should not get the term which we are breaking. I guess there is, for i's range of 10, print I, if I is greater than 3, break, print hello, 1, 2. So here, here 3 should not come because we are breaking it. If I is greater than 3, it should break it. So we should not get an output of 4. So I'll just check and I'll get back to you what is the error occurring here. If anyone knows, let me check the chat box so we could discuss about it. Getting error is another form of learning. So anyone knows what has been wrong here? It is right. Loop is breaking after print statement. Let's check. I have to mention print before. Why we need to declare variable for while statement and not for. See, Nagesh, we are declaring variable for like it's the syntax of what can I say, while. As I told you, while doesn't have particular range. So in for loop we have particular format of input initialization, then out, output, and then incrementation. Okay, so that thing is not here in while loop. So we have to generalize, or we have to mention where it is starting. We need to initialize. So Gayatri, okay, yeah, people have mentioned there. So yeah, that's the reason. Generally in for loop, we have the particular statement, we have particular format. It's in the form of initialization, then output, and then the incrementation. But in while loop, you won't get anything as such, and that's the reason we have to initialize somewhere. And that's the reason we have to initialize the value of whatever input you're taking in any format. So the way we write it as for I in range of blah blah blah, we just mention I equals to 0, let's say. So in for loop in bracket we mention 0 comma 10 comma 2, let's say. So here for I equals to 0 in for loop, in while loop indicates that the initialized value is 0. That's the syntax, so we can't help. That's how it has been made. So while loop is used because the range has not been clarified. So as range has not been specified in while loop, that's the reason we use while loop. And if range is specified, if we are sure that we have to mention our output and up to from this to this, then we use for loop. Okay, so keep this in mind. Print is executing, then it's getting into if statement, I guess. Yeah. Yes. Okay, got it. I guess it has to be in break. Nagesh is the one who has answered this. Print I. If I is greater than equals to 3, then we will print I. Then we'll, let's see. Oh, again rank. I'm so sorry. Range. Sorry for your confusion. I don't get why this spelling mistakes are occurring by me. They're still in the root, okay? See what has happened here. We can run it in any form that we want. Here we have got a range. So this loop has not been run properly, and that's the reason it's giving us an output of 0, which means none. That happens in every kind of programming, where a program coding runs in, or I can say, in an inappropriate way. So you will get here 0, or you will get here none, literally. So I'll show you that example as well, that how it works, like how it shows you the output, how it gives you an output of none when the program is not running the loop properly. So if it's not running properly, it will give you an output as 0. One last attempt. Else I'll try it for the next time. Yes. What has happened here is we have got a range of I till 10 where we have got input if I is greater than 3. So here our what I can say, input can run up to. One more thing I forgot to mention you is here we have taken single term. Okay, so what it simply indicates is we have taken the middle term, which was the what I can say, length of output we used to consider it as. So here we have not initialized anything. So in for loop there is no necessity as such where you have to initialize particular thing, or you have to what I can say, you have to mention the steps. So by default it takes steps as 1, and by default it takes input as 0. Okay, so keep this in mind. So you can mention for loop in 3 ways, either in 3 formats. Like either you can mention it in 1 way, in 2 ways, that is 0 comma 10, which means the same thing, that we have initialized it at 0 and it is up to 10. And third thing is, as we know, it's just 10. It's the middle term, which is the size of output. So that's how it works. So here this simply means that the input is from 0 and up to 10. So we are going to print the input. If I is greater than 3, print I, and we are breaking this. Okay, so to break a loop, so what would have happened if we would have not mentioned break here? This would have keep on looping it, okay, till 10. But as we have mentioned, I here is greater than 3. So I will just show you how the dry run works here. Okay, so by just with this cursor, I'll just tell you how dry run works. So I'm going to introduce you one more thing, dry run. So generally, while programming, giving any competitive programming, let's say in Google, Microsoft, or any other programming, coding, competitive coding, they ask you to dry run. I mean, they won't give you this whole system, they won't give you anything. They will literally give you whiteboard and a marker where you literally have to type out code and you have to run it directly, or on pen and pencil. So to become a good coder, you have to know your errors by your own, and that's where dry run works. I mean, that's where the dry run is utilized, to know whether the programmer is good enough to know his or her own mistakes or errors in the coding. So here what generally happens in system is we get to know what kind of error we are getting. Okay, but this thing can't happen while we are doing it in dry run. Okay, while we are doing it on pen and using pen and paper or whiteboard and marker. So there we don't get what error is occurring. So there the concept of dry run comes, where we have to run the program by yourself using marker or whatever we want. So here it has printed 0. Okay, it has again incremented by 1. Going on to the next loop, it has printed 1, 2, 3. Now if I is greater than 3, here 4 is there. Okay, I is greater than 3, so it will print I. Okay, because we have mentioned it earlier. If we would have mentioned print I after print high, it would have stopped by 3. Okay, but as we have mentioned is earlier, it will print 4. But then as it realizes that if I is greater than 3, so here 4 is greater than 3, it will print high, it will break it. Okay, it has broke the rule, the loop, so it won't go beyond it. Okay, what generally has happened, I'll explain you one more time just to clear the confusion we had earlier. So it will print I from 0 to 10. Okay, in between we are breaking it, so we can even simply skip this thing if you want. Print high also. Okay, so we are printing and we can utilize it, or we can customize it or manipulate it in any way we want. So let's say if you want an output from 0, 1, 2, 3, that's it, and we don't want it furthermore. Okay, so not to get any syntax error, what we can do to get an input from 0 to 3 in the range of 0 to 10. We can simply write print I. If I is greater than 2, break. Okay, so what will happen here is it will come into this loop, it will print everything, and when it comes to I is greater than 2, it will print 3 here, but in the end it will break it. Okay, so for your satisfaction or for your more clarification, I'll just type it out in this way. If I is greater than 3, oops, I'm so sorry. For highest range of 10, if I is greater than 3, yeah, let's print high instead of I, and we'll break it here itself. See, we have got high here because we have not mentioned I'm so sorry, we have not mentioned here where to print I. So we have mentioned here to print I here, but here we didn't mention anything, so that's why it has given us an output of high only. Now let's do one more what I can say experimentation. For I in range of 3, if I is greater than 3, print high. I'm sorry, print I, and again let's break it. We have got it 4 here, because what we have done here is we have taken incrementation of I. Okay, so we have taken the input as 3 here. I'm sorry, initialization as 3 here. So immediately in the range of 0 to 10, the first value of I becomes 4, as we have mentioned it as we have mentioned the value of Y is greater than 3. So in the range of 0 to 10, the first value of I would be 4. So it will simply print 4 and it will break it. Okay, as simple as that. So you can use it to mention. So what we have done here is to mention the value of particular range in a whole bunch of range. So we have here the range of 0 to 10. Okay, and we just needed one particular value. So for that reason, or a range of values. So for that reason, we have used break. Similarly, continue works. So here we have got the output of 4. In similar ways, you can do various experimentation. And if you're getting any errors, just let me know in the next session. We'll discuss about that as well. And we'll, keep learning it all together, like how it's working and what's the error we are getting and how to resolve that error immediately by itself. Okay. So I guess one more thing I forgot to tell you. Slipped out of my mind. I'm sorry. As of now, I guess that's it. We have 15 minutes left today, but not an issue. I hope you got to know how it's working. Yeah. I wanted to tell you is we have used if statement in for loop. So that's what we can do in for or while loop in Python. We can literally use any kind of if elif statement. We can literally use switch case in for loop also. I mean the way we use switch case in other languages, we can use is as if 1 equals to January, if input I equals to 1, print January. If I equals to 2, print February. In the range of I of in for I in range of 1 to 12 or 1 to 13, because it will give an output up to 10. Okay, so for I in range of 1 to 13, so it will give the range of 1 to 12. If I equals to 1, print January. If I equals to 2, print February. And if you want to break it meanwhile, we can break it in whatever we want. Say if you want to print it till July, so we will mention if I equals to 7, print July, break. So in whole loop, it will be broken till it will be running till July and it will break immediately. Okay. So yeah, that's how it works. Whatever I have said right now, please make sure you're trying it, like the whole thing of January, February. So use the switch case that is if else loop of if else statement in for loop. So try that one also. So and let me know whether it works or not, or if you are getting any error. We'll try to resolve it in next session. Our next